Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm back at it again with another video. Yo, can I shoot the shit for a minute with some of the younger kids in the audience, if you don't mind? I'm talking about the ones who are probably like 21 and a little bit younger, the TikTok generation. Yo, check it out for a minute. I got a question for some of y'all. I don't understand this premise. I get the whole context of wanting something new, wanting something fresh. But what is wanting something new and wanting something fresh when you keep going out of your way to incentivize people to still do the same thing that already exists, but upgrade it? It's not nothing new. It's not nothing fresh. You're merely just upgrading it from what it already is right now, currently at the moment. Like the Lion King, right? Lion King's been around for 30 years now. What makes you think just because you're going to add CGI features to it, you really just broke the mold, like you completely made something new? You didn't. Hip-hop music nowadays. Hip-hop is a sample of old hip-hop that's a sample of old R&B. You are literally 33% owner of what you currently have right now that's trending. And in some cases, it's a sample of a sample of a sample of a sample. You go watch the movies. It's another fucking superhero movie. Superhero movie. Nothing is original. Phones come out. What are you breaking the mold of? Alright, smartphones have been pretty much here for damn near 20 years now, since 2007. How did you upgrade the smartphone to anything more, I don't know, groundbreaking? You just added new features to it. You know, I was watching, I was with my son, right? And we were just laying on the couch probably like an hour ago before recording this. Fell asleep together watching old Looney Tune cartoons on YouTube, right? Had like a compilation of the Acme Hour stuff. Busting out laughing, right? He laughing because I'm laughing. And I woke up, put him in his bed, came in the living room, was watching TV. And when I was watching TV cleaning up, a Roadrunner Coyote show came on, right? Roadrunner Coyote short came on. And I'm still busting out laughing. And it made me realize the evolution of cartoons is very similar to the evolution of professional wrestling nowadays. It's like the fundamentals, they work. The traditions, they work. The actual thing to make professional wrestling, it worked. And to gradually get away from all of that, to think that you're coming up with something new, when in reality, you're still fucking with professional wrestling. It's ludicrous to me. That's what I'm getting at. You see, the parallels with cartoons. It was funny, slapstick, unrealistic, made absolutely no sense, and it was a break from reality. And as the years start going on, it started to get less funnier and 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 less funnier, to right now, if you're even at people, attempting to draw cartoons anymore, it's safe, it's repetitive. Oh, don't do anything in cartoons because the kids could imitate it. So take all the things out, rather than actually being a good fucking parent, take all the things out that make, cartoons, and just boil them down to Craig in the Creek, for an example, right? Shows that have a message. Or better yet, let's bring in some CGI with a message. Bruh, these aren't even cartoons anymore, bruh. They're just drawn live sitcoms. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like Full House, but you're drawing it. It's like Saved by the Bell, but you're drawing. It's like Step by Step, but you're drawing it. Like, come on, this isn't cartoons anymore. These are not cartoon shows. I relate that to professional wrestling because it's the same thing. Professional wrestling had a specific identity, and it's not hard. One word. Easy. Easy. One word. Masculinity. It's not that hard. Masculinity. Anything that indulges the male mind, broadly speaking, generally speaking, is what appeals to men. That opposite thing of your mom. It's not that hard. And as years start to go on, I see constantly it being picked off little by little by little by little by little by little. You go from the 1970s when it was all masculine, men beating the dog shit out of each other, and it evolving. And there's nothing wrong with evolving, but as long as you're evolving in the right path. But we evolve to the point right now where wrestling is not even recognizable. I can't recognize wrestling for what it was when I was growing up, at least. And I'm pretty sure the people who watch wrestling when I was a kid probably looks at it and say the same exact thing. But at the very least, there was a consistency there still, right? The masculinity trait was still there, just like cartoon shows. At the very least, they were still funny, right? No matter how much the departure came from, Jigaboo, Bugs Bunny or some shit, you eventually still got to Ed, Edd and Eddy, right? Which was slapstick, which was funny as shit. You still got to Johnny Bravo, which was still funny. It was still slapstick, right? Dexter's Laboratory, not as much, but still slapstick nonetheless, right? You still had funny. You still had haha. It wasn't the same as the Looney Tunes, but it was still there. The core aspect was still there. And it feels like everything gets stripped away. But my question is why? Why? Why do we consistently go out of our way to strip away the things, the core fundamentals that makes that thing that thing? Like, you wouldn't do that to say, for an example, anything in your personal life, right? Right, like you wouldn't go out of your way to, for an example, clean out your refrigerator and take out all the shelves. Because the shelves, that's how you divide it, right? That's how it stays organized and neat. You wouldn't just take it out just because, oh man, it looks ugly inside there. You would at least look at the shelves and ask, why are they there? And do they actually serve a purpose, rather than just taking it out all willy-nilly, because that'd be ridiculous. But those same concepts, when it comes to our entertainment, we never really question. What was the necessity for an example, the women, right? Let's use them for an example. What was the necessity for having women go out there and not be sexy anymore? Legitimately, who did it necessarily offend? Why did it offend them? And why should it matter in the grand scheme of things? Do we ever stop and ask ourselves these questions? No, we just, that one person seems rather upset, and they're pretty emotional. Therefore, that emotion, it tugs at me. It makes me feel that what I'm doing currently at the moment is wrong because they're emotional. Therefore, we should probably do something else, because I don't want to feel the way that I'm feeling right now, because I feel like I'm feeling this way because they're feeling that way and I made them feel that way. There's no logic. There's no reasoning. Just do it. Where in reality, we know it's a detriment. You look at women's wrestling. Does it have its place? Of course it has its place. Everything has its place if you could make it, reasonably fit. But to just do it willy-nilly for no fucking reason, without coming back to the core aspect, which is masculinity when dealing with professional wrestling, you ask yourself, does it hurt or does it help? It helps when the women, occasionally go out there and they do their own thing. But in reality, what we want to see is bra and penny matches. Not talking to everybody individually. Okay, like I said, especially if you're a little bit younger, you could be a little bit older too. That's what you gradually go for. Hey, I'm not here to oppose you, but I'm talking strictly masculinity overall. That's what we want to see. Naked women, I don't see anything wrong with that. Half naked women, don't see anything wrong with that. They could still wrestle and at the same time do the exact same thing that I'm mentioning at the moment. Logically, it brings in more eyeballs, in particular that core male masculine audience, so you know that you can take more approaches towards that audience. Simple things like that. But instead, we actively destroy ourselves for what? I don't know why. I don't know why. To appease people who don't care. You're appeasing activists who don't care. You're appeasing wrestling fans who, in reality, in the background, they get off to this kind of stuff. There are weirdos out there who will stalk a woman based off of her PFP. And apparently, that's not weird, but we listen to these same weirdos tell us what is good or what is bad in regards to what the women should be doing or not doing. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. And just like from a masculine standpoint, when talking about femininity, there's no going into a woman's space. I said this beforehand too. There's no going into Maybelline and, suggesting we take all the makeup and put men in the front of it. No, granted, wouldn't they probably do that too nowadays, given the kind of world that we live in. But typically speaking, right, that wouldn't be a thing that most women would be okay with. Why would they not be okay with that, huh? Why would they not be okay with a man, or say for an example, a ma'am being in front of a lipstick, being in front of a powder bottle, being in front of face powder, because those are women products. Would you be okay with seeing a hairy chested man, on a logo, I don't know, trying to sell some panties or bras and stuff? No, you wouldn't be okay with that for the right reasons. So why is it okay for women to come into men's spaces and do the exact same thing? That's just one example, though. That's just one example. The storylines in themselves, the politically correctness, the PC ideology that we go out of our way to enclose ourselves into. Why do we abide by that? What's the reason? Like, I get standards and practices, but even standards and practices, I have the question sometimes: what's the reasoning? I don't understand. What's the reasoning behind the standards and practices? Like I said, you have parents. You have settings on your TV that, can acclimate to what you want in regards to your standards. There should not be a standards and practice outside of things that are totally illegal. You know what I mean? But the standards and practices it's you. Stop being lazy. Put some settings on your TVs. Monitor your child's behavior. My child, I'm not going to let my son watch anything gory or scary or go to the movies and watch something that's not age appropriate. I'm pretty sure most parents are that way, because that's called being a fucking parent. That's just common sense. That's just logical. Why doesn't anyone else abide by those standards? Especially people who probably don't even give a shit. I have kids. Most people don't have kids nowadays, especially the younger ones, which makes it even more stranger when I see that they're the main ones complaining. Like, I see people with no kids, no life, complaining about shit that doesn't really affect them in the end of the day. Like, I remember seeing something. Who was it? Actually, I'll do you one better. Maybe you guys may be familiar with the whole drama that's going on right now with Destiny, the political streamer, and all the stuff that's surrounding him and the pixie chick and all that stuff. And honestly, I look at that situation and I see people who are like, oh, that's fucked up. What Destiny did is fucked up. Oh, that's such a terrible. Yeah, on his face it's fucked up, obviously. But at the same time, like, you have this pixie chick saying, I'm going to skibbity myself if I don't have any options. I am going to skibbity myself. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, I don't give a shit if you do. Who? If you're that weak-minded, then sure, skibbity yourself. I don't care. More food for me. More air for me to breathe. I don't give a fuck if you skibbity yourself because you can't take pictures of you being on live. If your life is that meaningless, like, who gives a shit? I don't care. I don't care. We need to start taking more of that approach going into the future when having to look at people who say things like that. That's so ridiculous, especially when 9 times out of 10, they only say it for attention. The whole, I'm going to skibbity myself for whatever reason. Like, you only say it for attention. You're not going to do it. And if you do it, who cares? Who cares? That's the problem of the people who are affected by you. They should probably do something to help you out. Like, that has nothing to do with me. Like that, like you wanting to skibidi yourself because my personal entertainment offends you when all you have to do is get away from it. That doesn't bother me. That's how I look at politics nowadays too. Like, people going back and forth with, oh, Trump's gonna sign this executive order or this executive order, this executive order. Dude, in the end of the day, does it really bother you? I said the same thing about Democrats too when it was Joe Biden nowadays. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I'll speak my mind on the situation, but in regards to, does it personally affect me in my personal life? No, I don't care. I cared at one point, but then I really started to think to myself after a time, no, I really don't care. I really don't care. As long as you're not putting something that's generally going to affect me and my son, then I don't care. I really don't. You want to do trans the kids bullshit? Go for it. Trans your stupid ass kid. I don't care. You're not transing my son though. At this point, I just care about me and my family. I don't care about anybody else's family. Maybe at one point I did, but now I don't. I just seriously don't, because it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And if we all took that approach, rather than sitting there and having a virtue signal over every single fucking thing, I think the world would be so much a better place. We all put in practice what we want in practice rather than putting in practice what we expect the world to want to practice. That's the true way as far as how we actually start moving forward. And I relate this to professional wrestling, because it's like, and you got to do that, even from a political sense, you got to have that kind of mindset going forward, because no one's going to abide by how you live. No, the world is not going to abide by how you live. You vote in whatever person you want to vote in because you feel like they have a better chance of instituting policies that do fit your worldview. But overall, individually speaking, it really doesn't matter. Just live your life and do whatever you want the president or your mayor or your governor or your senator, whatever you want them to do and put into practice. You can still do it. You have free will. You're in the country as long as you're not doing anything illegal. I wish if we all had that same frame of mind of we can do what we want to do, rather than consistently having to put in practice everybody else having to practice what we want to practice. There's a reason why I don't talk about religion all too much, even though, I'm a Baptist, but I don't talk about religion all too much because I don't think anyone really gives a shit about my religion. Just like I don't give a shit about them being atheists or their religion. I don't care at all. This needs to be put in practice for wrestling to actually go forward and actually achieve a status as to where it once was. And I blame all this on the internet. Not even the internet. I blame all this on social media. Everybody having a podium, everybody having a microphone. You may argue that that's a good thing, but in some circumstances, is it really a good thing? Because now, apparently, when everybody has a microphone, everybody has the virtue signal about something. Everybody has an opinion, right? But the opinion can never just stay at it just being an opinion. It has to go a little bit further, right? You radicalize people. You make people extreme. You make people extreme in whatever views they see, and now they have to act upon it. And most of these people who are on social media, they are mentally ill. Always remember, there's not that many people on social media who have voices in comparison to the rest of the world. So to the rest of the world, they're not on social media as far as talking or making content, but there's a large amount of people, at least in comparison to the previous years, who were doing that in the entertainment field, right? And it's like, you see all that and you think that that's the world in general, and it's like, it's not the world in general. Like, when I see things about the police officers killing people and stuff like that, and never mind the reasons, put that out of sight, out of mind. But it's crazy to me, like, because you see like 5 or 6 reports and it constantly stays in the news, right? That people somehow take those 5 or 6 reports and they believe that it's happening everywhere. It's not happening everywhere. It's just propaganda being thrown up in your face all the time to make you think that it's happening all the time. In reality, you look at statistics, it's probably less than 30, probably for sure under 1%. Rarely happens throughout the entire country. It rarely happens. You saying 100 while recognizing there are over 330 million people in America alone, that should probably tell you as is, right? You could probably count on one hand how many actual unarmed black men die via police officers. It's rare as fuck, right? It's rare as fuck. We all need to focus on ourselves. We all need to focus on ourselves. And if we all focus on ourselves, then when this relates back to professional wrestling, maybe, just maybe, everybody not having a separate mind, everybody working cohesively, everybody focusing on one goal, we could probably start maybe little by little holding some of these wrestling companies accountable for the things that they've done to the professional wrestling business. Does that make any sense? I know people are going to probably be like, you're all over the place in this video, but I'm bringing up all these examples to make it that one minute point that professional wrestling is and forever will be about masculinity. And we all need to come together and understand that point in regards to professional wrestling. Use this, obviously, as a standard practice throughout life, but focusing on this video and the content on this video, it's all about masculinity. The whole world understood that. You understood that. Your parents understood that. And that's what made professional wrestling thrive. And as time started to go on, when dealing with masculinity, that was the blueprint for professional wrestling to expand. So why, if that is the blueprint for wrestling to expand, would you purposely go out of your way to eliminate that core aspect? Because everybody has an idea, and everybody thinks that their idea is what's going to work, when in reality, you're still living off the land that was built by someone else. Always remember that. No matter what you do to the house, you're still living in the house. And if you feel that in order to make yourself better is to get rid of the house, then ask yourself, what do you replace the house with? Another house? Then what was the point of getting rid of the first house? Make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. As always, my name is Devontae. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. A little bit of a different approach to today's content. Tell me if you like it. Now, I used to do this a lot back on my old channel, the old retrospect stuff. Feels good. I didn't do the surface videos. Haven't done that in a while. A deuces and a pea ice.